Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ask Dr. Be Good show, the show where we try to bring you the good things going on in public education every week. And this week, I'm reviewing some things, but asking that you look at them in a new light, in that we are in the beginning of the school year, sort of calendar year, not the beginning of the school year, but of the 2020 year. Let's review some things, maybe put them in a New Year's resolution state of mind, so that we can get more of you to think about some of the healthier paths that we need to take. We have, first of all, you'll notice a new look, by the way. Speaking of New Year, we have a new studio for now, and so because January seems to be the month of new, we're going to go with that theme also. I was sent by Miss May, thank you Miss May from Plano Location, a document that says the 12 new school year resolutions. And I really like this because this is not something that needs to be waiting until August to share. It's a good time, and many times January is that time when parents and well, not only parents, but all people seem to revisit where they are in their life with things. And so this document was a really good checklist for parents to have and to move towards more if they haven't already. I know a lot of my podcasts have been on being healthier and being organized and so forth. So now we have a document that's got it all on one page. And I will provide the link for this after the podcast. But in the meantime, let's go through this and mentally check, where are you on each one of these 12? The first one is make mornings a breeze. Now, I know that I've done a podcast on being organized and how to be more organized in the morning. And one of the ways that we talked about doing that was to have kids help you the night before, right? To do lunch prep the night before, put our clothes out the night before, and so forth. Getting our kids organized so that they're doing the work. You're just managing them to do the work, but they're doing the work, as well they should, to make the next morning of getting up and getting to school easy breezy. So making sure that you organize your children to help you have an organized morning will help them come into school with a more positive frame of mind. One of the things it says on here is make sure everyone eats a healthy breakfast, and if there's not time at home, it's okay to come to school. If you're part of the free and reduced lunch program, then of course we offer breakfast, but even if you're not part of the free and reduced lunch program, you can still buy breakfast. It's very, very inexpensive, under $1, I think, and we work to make those meals very nutritional. All right, the next one says pack healthy green lunches. Now, those of you that have been with us a while know that this is a pet theme of mine, making sure that we can have parents help kids pack healthy green lunches would include lots of fruit, vegetables, using reusable bags and containers instead of Ziplocs that are thrown away. Staying green is more than just eating green. It is recycling and keeping an eye on the fact that we need to train our kids to honor the earth and to become recyclers at an early age. Again, I encourage parents to not consider Lunchables as a lunch choice. Lunchables tend to have high sodium and processed cheese and meat in them, and not the best food to feed young bodies. If you need more information on what to feed them, we not only have podcasts on that, but Facebook, the Legacy Facebook page has every once in a while, and it's pretty frequent, that we have links to places that have creative ways of making lunches for kids. And so I encourage you to go back into the Facebook page if you can't think of any off the top of your head, and see what creative lunches uh, your kids can help you make for them that they will actually eat. This is a big one. Encourage kids' independence. So, as you know, one of the things that we're finding is that when parents overlove their kids and do things for them, the kids grow up to be lacking in coping skills. Matter of fact, we have kids going to college now that are really unable to cope with the fact that they're in a new environment with professors who aren't quite as nurturing. They are more matter of fact, and they tend not to be as open to redo assignments and so forth. So making sure that we train our kids to become more independent and to do their own assignments, which include chores at home, by the way. I know that I've seen postings on our Facebook page that says that kids who do chores have better grades. Kids who have an organized, structured home life have better grades and have better future outcomes because they are learning sort of soft adult skills at in an age-appropriate way as a child. So really, really let your kids fail forward. If you had said that they needed to take the garbage out every day this week or they wouldn't earn their whole allowance, then that's what has to happen. Even though Darling said that it wasn't his or her fault that they forgot to take the garbage out yesterday, you have to stick to your guns. You really do. Another one is help your child's school. So helping volunteer at school, helping with fundraisers, being at events, being visible at your child's school is a way of making school valuable. And when your kids see that you value school, they're going to value school. So it's amazing how that happens. If you spend time at school because you're sending the message that this is a place that's important to you and it should be important to them, they will actually succeed at a higher level. Now, don't overcommit if you don't have time. Please know that we don't want to add another thing to your plate, but learning to prioritize what's important and what you want your child to think is important is something that you need to think about. Sticking with an after-school routine. So let's say that you pick the kids up from school, whether it's a regular school or after-school program, you come home and it's time to what, right? So some of you have that pretty well organized. Your kids know to go put their backpack in the homework area. They know to take their uniform off maybe and put their regular clothes on, or depending what time it is, maybe their PJs, while you're putting together a meal, or maybe some of the older kids are putting together the meal while you're helping the young ones, but it's a known procedure in your household. And that's really important, that there's be a routine that kids immediately follow and don't question, because you have helped them understand that that is what we do when we get home. And so that after-school routine should include snack time, and depending on what time, right? If you pick them up right after school, it might include a snack time, but if you pick them up after the after-school program at 6 or 6:30, then of course it'd be closer to dinner time. And then make sure that kids have everything that they need to do their homework, a quiet space, and that goes on to our next one, make homework time painless. And Professor Freedom has spoken on a podcast about this, and I know that he has done Facebook posts on this, about the importance of having a good workspace and the necessary materials in that workspace to get homework done. It's important to keep kids away from distractions such as TV and cell phones. And, you know, if you will take the time to review their homework, two things will happen. One is the kids will do a better job on it the first time because they know you're going to ask to look at it. And the second thing is that they will value their homework more because they know you're going to look at it. And so taking the time to do that, it may add 5 to 7 minutes to that homework piece, but it's amazing the rewards that come from that. All right, let's see. Number 6, 7. Keep kids' schedules manageable. One of the things that is relatively new from the last 30 or so years is that we have really over scheduled our kids. It is not unusual for our kids to have 2 or 3 sports that they're part of during the week. On the weekends, maybe they're part of a sport team at school, but then they also have a team that they do on their own during the weekend at the local club nearby. Maybe they're taking some extra lessons, and so all of a sudden it seems like we don't have much time at home. What we're doing is getting in and out of cars and going places. So making sure that we keep our children's schedules manageable is pretty important. And one of the ways by doing that is to block out family downtime on your calendar. So what that might look like is, let's say that you've been invited to 3 birthday parties. 3 birthday parties this weekend. And oh yeah, there is that soccer game too. Do you go to everything and overstress everybody? And then we have kids who have their off schedule. Maybe you've also got some toddlers at home, and we're dragging them around to the older kids' birthday party drop-off and pickups and so forth. It really, if you get to the point where you know that you guys are overscheduling, you're going to have a sit-down family meeting and talk to kids about, hey, we have 4 things, 5 things, and I'm not even talking about church obligations and so forth, which add to it. But we're going to have a family meeting maybe Wednesday night or so forth, and say, guys, let's look at what's on the calendar this weekend. What do we need to possibly cut back on? And we may have to only go to one of the 3 birthday parties because we also have the soccer game. And I hate to say that the soccer game is more important, but you do have a team that is counting on you as a team player. And so maybe selecting to only go to one of the birthday parties might be the correct thing to do. And being apologetic to the parents of the other kids whose birthday parties you're not going to take your child to say, we just couldn't fit it in this weekend, we apologize. Over time, if we all did that, parents would be, I think they would understand. Here's a good one. Communicate with the teacher. A lot of times parents get busy and they don't take the time to establish a healthy, positive relationship with a teacher. And then here comes January and something happens. Let's just say that for whatever reason, your daughter has just had a meltdown and didn't do her homework 3 days in a row. I'm just making that up, but go with me. And so now we're having to communicate with the teacher, and the communication is about how we can make this work up so it doesn't impact Darlene's grade too badly, and yet we still want a consequence feeling for the child. So there's all of this communication with the teacher without having built a healthy, positive relationship previous in the school year. And so making sure that having a foundation of trust between you and the teacher early on is always a good idea. And I would say that anytime you have an event at school, we recently had the data dig, and not all parents went, unfortunately. And so we had parents who now don't know, they didn't sit down over that very valuable data sheet that was created for each parent in grades 3 up, so that they could talk to their son or daughter about where they are in the school year based on attendance, grades, and star results, and have that conversation about how maybe we need to shift some priorities at home to make you a better, more successful student at school. So if you did not go to that data dig, you might want to contact your campus director and ask, or the teacher, the classroom teacher, and say, hey, how can I sit down with you on that data dig document and have that conversation with you and my child on how to set a goal to make sure those scores increase. All right, so the next one is one that's near and dear to my heart. Fit in physical activity. Encourage outdoor games and play. And parents, this means you too. So it's not a matter of saying go out and play. It's a matter of saying, hey, let's go throw the ball outside. Let's go do the frisbee. Let's go to the park and do the soccer ball back and forth. Let's go practice batting at the batting range. Getting out shows your child that you value that as well. And it will get you more fit also, parent, because we all need to be better at making sure we get our steps in, that we get more exercise and so forth, and stay healthier, not only for ourselves, but for our kids. You all have heard me say this on several podcasts, but I'll say it again. The only way that one can build brain cells is through physical activity. That's why we have 2 recesses at school, because we value the fact that we understand we must get kids moving so that we can continue growing their brain cells. So just think of that, parents. I know you want your child to have the maximum number of brain cells, and one of the ways to do that is to get physical with them. And doing some cardio. My daughter is doing some cardio fitness, and on the weekends she includes the kids, and they love it. And it builds up their stamina as well. So again, looking for opportunities to be physical with your kids in a fun way should be something you do all the time. How about dancing? Dance with your kids. Any fun opportunity to do just fun dancing at family reunions and at grandma's birthday party, dance with your kids. All right, let's see, make time for family dinners. One of the huge losses that we've had in society the last couple of decades or more is the fact that people aren't taking the time to sit down and eat dinner together. Oftentimes we have the excuse that we have events, that we have soccer going on, we're just so busy, we get home at 6:30 and we're scrambling to get dinner on the table, and everybody has to do their homework, so they bring their homework to the table while they're eating, and we're just scrambling. So again, this goes back to making sure that you have thought about how to make your family life more organized, and it may be that there's some things that have to be dropped, just for the sake of family unity, family fellowship, and to recharge together. It's hard to get to know your kids really well when you don't sit down and talk to them often. So that's really something that needs to be prioritized if you're not making time to do family dinners 2 or 3 times a week. And another bullet that they had under that, and it's a good point, is to prepare easy make-ahead meals to reheat. So, and I had brought this other article about teaching kids to eat healthy. So let me just read the most important parts of this teaching kids to eat healthy. You need to make it not just a rule, but a routine that healthy foods are the default setting for your family meals. Take kids with you to the grocery store, and young kids can pick out the fresh fruit and veggies. Older kids can take on larger roles like choosing recipes and making the shopping list. Show kids what eating right looks like. Explaining about how filling half their plate with fruit and vegetables will give them the nutrients that they need to feed their brain. The other half should be lean proteins and whole grains to give them the energy to run, dance, and play. When you're cooking or grocery shopping, show them examples of these different key food groups, like the vegetables, fruits, breads, fats, proteins, and so forth. Avoid calling foods good or bad, and that's a really good one right there. Kids should learn that all foods have a place in their diet. Label foods as go, slow, or whoa. Kids can greenlight foods like whole grains and skim milk that they should have every day, slow down with less healthy foods like waffles, and foods with the least amount of nutrition like french fries. Whoa, don't need to be off limits, but they should not be eating them often. Portion size is important. Protein should be palm-sized, and fats like butter or mayonnaise about the tip of their thumb. Limit their sweets. Explain to older kids that while candy and cookies taste good, sugar can do their body more harm than good. You can tell kids that too many sweets will make them feel yucky. And then offer fresh fruits for dessert and limit treats to 2 or 3 times a week to keep cravings in check. Help kids stay in touch with their hunger cues. Model good eating habits. You know, you can't tell your kids to eat right when you're not eating right? You can't tell your kid to eat broccoli, but then you never touch it, right? So you have to model, and every bite counts. Role modeling is one of the best ways to get your children on boarding with healthier eating. So eat dinners as a family. See, it's in other articles too. Here it says, kids who eat meals with their families are more likely to eat healthy fruits, veggies, and whole grains, and less apt to snack on junk food. And then check in with your family doctor. If you think your child needs to gain or lose weight, don't put them on a diet. Instead, speak to your doctor and get with a pediatrician to find out what the best food plan is. Because I did that podcast on type 2 diabetes, which if you haven't heard it, you really need to. Type 2 diabetes used to be called adult onset diabetes. Well, it's not called that anymore because kids are getting it. And it's a silent killer. It's one that the kids don't know they have until they go to the doctor and they have blood tests and urine tests, and it pops up. So it's really important that we are firm about making sure that the kids go to the doctor every year and that they're eating right so that we can make sure that they are as healthy as possible. Establish screen time limits for TV, video games, tablets, and phones. Keep tabs on kids' internet use and safety. Encourage kids to play educational games if they're on there. And we, again, have had podcasts on how much screen time they should have. Kids under the age of 2 shouldn't even touch it. At 2, they could have an hour a day maybe. Older, maybe 2 hours. But it's what we're finding, the research is saying that the less screen time the young ones have, the better. And then be firm about bedtime routine. Find out how many hours of sleep your kids need, and I have that here. Be consistent with bedtime routine. Stick with firm lights out time, no excuses. So how much sleep do kids need? Well, for the 3 and 6-year-olds, which is, we have 5 and 6-year-olds starting in kinder and first grade, 10 to 12 hours a day. They should go to bed between 7 and 9 and wake up at 6 or 8 on the weekends. 7 to 12-year-olds need 10 to 11 hours a day. At these ages, the social, school, and family activity bedtimes gradually become later and later, with most 12-year-olds going to bed about 9 p.m. And then for 12 to 18-year-olds, 8 to 9 hours per day. Sleep needs to remain as vital to health and well-being for teenagers as when they were younger. And that's one of the things teenagers struggle with because of their time on devices. Many times they spend all night on the device and don't get any sleep, and then don't want to get up for school or on the weekends to do other things. So that's something that really has to be monitored. Well, I have made it through the 12 new school year resolutions, which I hope that you will consider moving towards. But I wanted to fit another one in. I don't have a lot of time to do it in, so you'll have to research more. This is a blogger called HR Mom, and she wrote a piece that really caught my attention. And that is that a lot of parents claim that they give their kids devices so that they can develop and keep their technology skills sharp, but she's an HR person, and what she's noticed is that when young people come in for a job or to interview for a job, they may be addicted to their phone and hardly be able to stay off of it, but they don't really know how to use it. And so she has challenged parents to get better at using it. I wrote down I copied what she said here. I'm an HR director, and my team hires entry-level employees on a daily basis. We hire so many young people in their 20s who are downright addicted to their phones, yet don't know the absolute basics of using technology and struggle with making and receiving phone calls. The anxiety level these kids, the new hires, face when they encounter even small amounts of conflict or gray areas on customer call can be debilitating for so many of them. So as a mom of teenage sons, she thought that she would try to prepare her teenage sons to really know how to use their devices so that it led to life skills. And I will read you some. Now, this is on Facebook. I don't know how many of you read it, but I really, really wanted to bring it to your attention. And you can follow her on Facebook. All you have to do is put HR Mom, and it'll pop up. So let's see. As a mom of teenage son, I thought I'd share some practical ways of preparing your kids for real-life use of technology needed for adulting. Number one, have them conduct basic internet searches for you. Examples, have them research the best way to kill weeds or find the cheapest price for fence replacement. Have them find the cheapest rental car and hotel for your vacation. Have them make the call. Have them be the callers when you have electrical problems, when you have to call about a problem. Have them make the call and practice it first, and then have them make it, and you're right there coaching them so that if they make mistakes, you're there, but they get comfortable doing those skills. Have them call to pay any medical bills that come in. Show them where to find the date of service and invoice number. Have them call tech support anytime any of your technology at home is out. Have them be the ones who are walked through the basic steps to get this through. Have them call to schedule their own haircuts, doctor and dentist appointments, and the dog grooming appointments. So what if they sound dumb on the call the first few times? That's why we're doing it, so that they don't sound dumb every time, only the first few times as they learn. This really caught me. Have them renew your driver's license and your voter registration online, and take ownership of the registration inspection process of your car. Then they can practice on yours so they know what to do when they get a car. Have them complete your online curbside grocery order. They can look in the pantry and add items to your family needs, add items your family needs, and you can revise them when they're done. This summer, they can own this and have it completed every Friday, for example, and give them a weekly budget of what the family needs to spend on groceries. Have them research a recipe. Add those ingredients to the curbside pickup. Make them responsible for cooking dinner one night a week. Teach them how to use Microsoft Excel. They can use it to make a packing list for the next vacation. Ask them to color code items for each person and have them pack their own bags. Have them make PowerPoint presentations, although PowerPoint presentations are a little boring, I will tell you. And so I Googled PowerPoint alternatives and came up with top 20 PowerPoint alternatives. So I will encourage you to encourage your kids to Google PowerPoint alternatives instead of just doing PowerPoints, but it challenged them that for Grandma's birthday, they put together a Prezi or a PowerPoint or a Visme or a Haiku deck on Grandma and her lifespan and getting pictures together when she was a child and her life milestones and having them do it. They will love it. It's a great use of time, and how cool would it be for your kids to be known as the family historians who sort of gather the family pictures, put it into a life story, and then they put it online for other family members to access. Just fantastic. I have them, let's see, one of my favorite Mother's Day memories includes watching funny slideshow created for me by my 8-year-old. And so that's something she cherishes and will cherish all her life. My point is that kids have time for hours of Snapchat or Instagram, so they have time to learn marketable skills on these same laptops and devices. As they become more confident in these adulting skills, the less anxiety they'll experience when they're older and have to actually do these things. Side benefit, encouraging technology use creates and contributes to the family connection and is critical to combat depression and hopelessness. When they know their parents are counting on them as a critical part of what makes the family work, it increases their sense of purpose and belonging. So I've crammed a lot in, but this is a podcast, And so it's now archived, and you've heard it once. You can go to YouTube in the future and find it easier than finding it through Facebook when it's, when there are other things on top of it. But now it's captured. And so my hope is that you will want to save a podcast like this, not only share it with all your other moms, friends, and sister-in-laws and so forth, but to actually consider moving towards doing some of these things, having the resolutions to be a more structured family, to have more time together, to talk about the very important ways that kids can contribute to the healthiness of the family. So with that, I will say that we have come to the end of our podcast, and thank you for considering adding some of these resolutions to your family time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ask Dr. Be Good show. For more information on Legacy Preparatory Charter Schools, visit our website, legacypca.com, or call 469-249-1099. And remember to like us on Facebook, where we stream live weekly Tuesdays at 3 p.m.